evening and welcome to the India Development Debate. I'm Tamanna Inamdar and we have quite a show lined up for you this Monday evening. India wants to be Atmanirbhar. The India Revival Mission also includes reducing dependence in various sectors, and defense is one of them. It's a stated policy. So big move by the government over the weekend with Defense Minister Rajnath Singh announcing over 100 items in an embargo list which will begin from the end of this year. That means for these 101 items, we will stop imports completely between now and the next few years. This gives an opportunity to Indian companies, both public and private sector, to come to the fore. It's a great idea, but it comes with its list of challenges. We're going to discuss those challenges and can Indian companies rise up to the challenge in our first big discussion this evening. We're also talking about the IPL. Bids have opened today to hunt for a replacement for Vivo. We're getting a lot of exclusive details on who could be the front runners. Will there be a fire sale, considering this is just for a year and we're in the middle of a lockdown? How much of a deep discount will IPL have to give? That's also the other big story that we're tracking on the show this evening. And in our big interview of the day, you will hear from Amit Agarwal, Amazon India head, on the Amazon Prime sale, which gives us a glimpse into what kind of a consumption appetite we're seeing right now. But let's get on to the big story straight away. Defense stocks were on fire today after Defense Minister Rajnath Singh's announcement about putting certain items in the embargo list. What this essentially means is that Indian armed forces will, over a phased period of time, no longer import these items. Now, this is a crucial move considering that India is still heavily dependent on imports in the defense space. There has been a Make in India for defense program on for a few years, but let's be honest, it's not really taken off so far. What can be different this time? To speak on it, I'm joined today by Lieutenant General Kamal Davar, former Chief of India's Defense Intelligence Agency and DG of the Mechanized Forces. I'm also pleased to speak with Mr. SP Shukla today, Chairman of Mahindra Defense and Chair of the FICCI Defense Committee. Welcome to both of you and thank you so much for speaking with us on the show this evening. Mr. Shukla, let me get your take first off. We know that private companies have overall welcomed the move. Do you think there is a level playing field now available for private companies as well as public sector companies in the defense space?
Yes, you're right, Tamanna. Happy to be here. You're right that defense companies have all welcomed the move. I, as chairman of FICCI, commit heartedly. The main thing about the announcement yesterday was bringing of two elements together, and that is what we specially compliment the ministry for. Not only there is a list which says what all items will not be imported over next 3.5 years, starting from some which will not be imported immediately, some they have given 1 year, 2 years, going up to 2024. But more importantly, and that is very important part of the announcement, that they have separated the budget and clearly said that so much money will be kept aside for domestic capital procurement. This is a key factor. Otherwise, you can say that we will like to buy Make in India, but if entire defense budgets gets utilized for imports, there is nothing left to procure in India. So it was very well planned, and I compliment the government for announcing two things together. So 52,000 crores is the initial announcement, which will be now available for domestic procurement within the country.
Mr. Shukla, let me come back to you with that point. It is the need of the hour, undoubtedly. But the fact is that the Make in India program for defense has been not completely successful. How can you assure the people of this country that we will have world-class products, defense technology that the Indian armed forces deserve?
Let us take things one by one. First thing is, everybody agrees that our defense forces should get the best equipment, and secondly, at a good price, and thirdly, in time. All three are important things: quality, price, and delivery time. So let us say that is given. It is almost like hygiene factor in any production facility. Now we move to the next step. What needs to be done? Unlike consumer products, where you can set up a plant and then hope to get 5%, 10%, 20% market share gradually, because there are millions of customers buying soap, shampoo, whatever you have. In case of defense, you have one customer. You cannot set up the plant first and hope that the customer will buy. Therefore, process followed in defense procurement is different from what is done in case of consumer products. Here, you cannot start making, let us say, guns and say, okay, if defense does not buy, I will sell guns to somebody else in the country. That cannot happen. Therefore, a certain process is followed in which you need to be sure that if there is a requirement, number one, it will be bought in India, and number two, there will be money available to buy. This is what I have been very pleased about and welcomed wholeheartedly on behalf of the industry, and all my colleagues in the industry agree that this announcement really addresses the core issue that now Indian companies can plan their capacity, they can plan their capital expenditure to take up production of the items which are already there. Today, who in the world is manufacturing defense equipment? It's very simple. You just look at Second World War. There were victors and there were losers. The victors are the 5 countries who are members of the Security Council, permanent members, and it is they who are main producers of weapons today. US, Russia, China, UK, and France. The 3 losers had certain constraints imposed after the Second World War. So Germany, Italy, and Japan, they do have very high technological capabilities, but you do not see them manufacturing many defense equipment. And then new countries which came after the Second World War were like Israel. It came because of its circumstances. And today India also, because of its special circumstances, you cannot choose your neighbors. We also need to become self-sufficient in producing our own defense equipment. Industry has risen to the challenge. So if we talk about quality, there are many things which we can do on our own, and there are things where world-class collaboration is happening. Collaboration is a normal thing. No one makes everything himself. So if you were to make any equipment, there will be 20 people who will supply parts and components for that equipment. And assembly is made and design is made by the final platform maker, whom we are calling platform maker. So even if you make a car, there will be 200 vendors in a car. Somebody will supply windscreen, somebody will supply the tires, tubes, wheel assembly, brake lining, air conditioning, seats cover, steering wheel. So everything is not done in-house. In fact, majority of the things are outsourced. The moment we take a decision that these things we will make here, that is when immediately ecosystem rises to the challenge. People start saying, I can make this, I can make this, I can make this, and we have the capabilities for design and development. Now, no one company will make all 101 items. What happens is defense ecosystem develops and everybody makes a part of it. For example, I'm giving only an example. Mahindra Defense will be a front runner always because of its strong heritage in armored vehicles, in wheeled combat vehicles, which are part of this. It will be, and we have all the capabilities. If you can make a 30-ton truck, if you can make a 40-ton truck, you can definitely make armored vehicles of 10 tons, 15 tons, 20 tons. Same thing goes, we are already making, in fact, we are making and exporting also. In fact, UN Peacekeeping Force is buying the countries who participate in UN Peacekeeping Force, their armies buy from us and then they participate in UN Peacekeeping Force, so many of their armored vehicles. So we have the capability, we have to trust that the third largest economy in the world and perhaps the second largest number of engineers working in the industry in the world, we are
So,
confident we have the
so that's
capability.
true, Mr. Shukla. But then explain to me, Mr. Shukla, in that case, what was keeping us behind so far? Why have our imports, defense imports, just gone up year on year so dramatically? The fact is that our defense expenditure has also gone up, as have our imports. Clearly, the capabilities have not been discovered overnight, nor have, the fact that so many private companies can also come to the fore. What were the challenges then that you see not existing anymore? Or do you concede that there will
I
be
began by
challenges from
saying
here
it.
on for Indian
That
companies
was
as
my
well?
opening. That was the opening statement. You have to first say that I'm going to buy. That is the single most important statement of intent. And you have to keep aside a budget. You make defense equipment only when there is a buyer because this is a very unique product. And this is what has been wonderfully addressed by yesterday's announcement. Otherwise, it will always be chicken and egg story. What comes first? The only way of resolving it is by making that well considered, well planned move that certain things by 2021, certain things by 2022, certain things by 2023. You spread it out and one by one those items. Today also we are making equipment. There are proper testing procedures. You will be soon hearing more about them as they get announced in the media. There are prototype developments which are done. Then the army tests them.
Let me get
Sometimes
another voice in. Yes, sir. Let me just get another voice in. Lieutenant General Kamal Davar is on the phone line with us. Lieutenant General Davar, I just wanted to get your first reaction really to the announcement by Raksha Mantri to promote, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India. How will we ensure that the Indian armed forces still have world-class, top-of-the-line defense equipment like we did with the Rafale, which everyone was so excited when the Rafale flew in a few weeks ago?
That's a very genuine and a very candid question you've asked, very important. All I wanted to say before I get into specifics, that in case India, which aspires, and very correctly so, for a seat on the global high table, we can not do so unless and until you can safeguard your sovereignty. And your sovereignty can only be safeguarded in case you are self-reliant in defense equipment, or at least in the majority of your equipment. Now, we have I would say, a dubious record of being the world's largest importer of defense systems and weapons and platforms. Sometimes we are the largest, and sometimes now the Saudi Arabians have taken us over. But having said that, yesterday's announcement sends out the correct message to our industry. And I think I would definitely welcome it. But our problem has been not the intent, not even financial resources, but it has been implementation on the ground. You have to have a civil-military integrated approach. You have to get this private sector onto, you have to be fair to them. They are not here for just doing social service. We have to be very clear. We have to have a pragmatic, long-term vision. We have to associate themselves with it, also help them, and then only will we achieve self-reliance. We are producing so many great things in India, and mind you, even though I'm not too enamored about the defense sector productions and all, whatever be the reasons there, that's another story. But the fact is, if you get on sincerely and have a proper, integrated, synergized civil-military approach, to our defense production, everything will flow. We have the finest talent among our youngsters. We also have, ISRO. We also have the atomic energy establishment. We also have great guys like the Tatas, the Mahindras.
Lieutenant General Davar, that's true. No, we've always had all of them. We've always had all of them. And in fact, in just a bit from now, I'm going to play out a reaction from L&T Defense today. They have spoken to us. Let me ask you, what do you think is the timeline?
Okay.
What do you think is the timeline that the Indian sector will need to come on par?
Okay. Now the thing is that what happens is it is natural but unfair that what the Indian Armed Forces or what the government wants is high technology at a low cost in a very short time frame. It doesn't happen like that. You have to set up your general staff qualitative requirements. That is, what do I require, whether it's an aircraft, whether it's a tank or any other weapon system or platform. You have to give them time. You have to give them time and give them assurance that the government is with you. We are giving you a bit of money, and and they can also use the DRDO, which may have done some research in particular weapon systems or any other indigenous systems which we want. But the fact remains, as you yourself asked, made a point in your question, that the armed forces cannot be given second-rate weaponry. We cannot, because you have to enhance. Why is the country or the Air Force or the Armed Forces happy with the Rafale? Because it gives us a clear edge to deal with Chinese belligerents. Okay, so you cannot say, okay, look, I'll produce equipment which is 70% of your requirement, so please accept it. No way, because in war there are no runners-up. You win or you lose. You kill the enemy or you get killed yourself. And the sovereignty and the security and the safety of the country is paramount.
All right. So I will have to end it there. I've run out of time, Lieutenant General Davar. I will have to end it there, but I want to thank you and SP Shukla for joining us and putting that important story into perspective.